Hello guys, kindly check this application out. When we say submit, it says what code is required and what phone number is required. So let's take a phone, any code, let's take any code and let's take any phone number. Then let's say submit. It says what code is 93 and phone number is 155. So that is that guys. Let's develop this using React form. If you want to type along with me, kindly install the following. 1. npm install Tailwind CSS forms. 2. npm install React hook form. And 3. npm install UUID. Now a quick one with the Tailwind CSS forms. Let's go to Google, then paste it there and check the okay, the npm. We've done that. So after doing the npm, you need to do another one called require. Okay, so you copy this require, then you go to your phone or your tailwind.config file and paste it there. So this is mine, paste it there. So that is that. I also have a video to install React with Tailwind. So if you have issues installing React with Tailwind, I got you. I'll leave the link in the description below. So we all said and done, let's begin. Thank you very much. Let's begin by creating two folders in our SRC folder. Call the first one assets, then call the second one components. Now let's take the first one, assets. Now this project we have no spinners or images, so we leave it blank. Go to the second one, components. Let's create a file and call it phone app.js. Now it's REFCE. Instead of ordinary div, why don't we make it React.fragments? So we say React.fragment. Okay. So inside that we can create a section. Then we say now have a div and say hello. Let's link that to the app.js to view on the screen. So over here we can say phone app. So let's import it because it has been imported for us. So let's check our screen if we get hello on the screen. Great, we got hello on the screen, means we're ready to go. So let's reposition everything since it's mobile first. Good, so we're ready to go. Let's close the app.js. Now with our phone app, we can begin. So to begin, let's take the div, the hello off, then say form. Good. So now inside the form, let's now have a div for background. So we say give it a class name and say bg white. Let's say width auto, height 96. Let's say rounded LG. Let's give it MX5 and MT20. Good. So that is that for the background. Let's handle the header. So that we say the header section. Good. So inside the header, let's create a div. So we have our div and say let's give it a p tag. Inside the p tag, let's call validate phone number. So let's give that a class name. Let's call it uppercase test for Excel font bold and text center. Okay, let's give that a height. So we go to the div, we go to that div and give it a class name, height 28. Let's make it flex, justify center, then items center. Good, so that is that. Let's give it shadow. Good. So that is that for the header. Now let's go to the body. So that is the header. Let's go to the body. So we say body section. Good. Now the body section, let's create a div. no, sorry, a div. Good. Now inside a div, let's have another div. Good. So inside this div, we can have two divs. Sorry, two divs. Let's call one, another one, and call it two. Okay. So we take one and two. So one will be our phone number. So our phone number, we need to have two divs inside, which is the how do you call it, the phone number inputs and the error inputs. Okay, so over here the second one is going to be error. So that is that. Likewise, the 22, which is the phone number input, we have there, and the second one is going to be the error. So that's it. Okay, and rearrange this. So that is that, guys. So one error and two error. Okay, like this. Two error. Okay, so we flex them. No, let's use grade. So we say class name equals grade. Then grade calls 3. Good. So that is that. And grade calls. Let's make the second div. Let's give it a class name and say call span 2. Okay, so that is that. So what do? Let's give it some margin. Let's give it empty 14 and margin mx 5. Okay, so that is that. Now let's build the inputs for the code section. So we say over here we call select. Inside select we can have an option, then we say option, we say +1. So that is that. Let's give it a class name. So we say class name equals width full. Let's give it test to Excel, then rounded, ROU and rounded LG. Good, that's it. Good. Now let's give it some gap. Let's give it the gap here. Gap 2. Okay. Good. Now what else? Good. Now let's work on the phone number input 2. So we come to the 2 div and we call inside that, let's call our input tag. Yeah. Inside that, let's have a type equals telephone. Then what else? Give it placeholder. Let's give it phone. Then class name. Good. Last name is the same thing. Let's copy this one. Good. The same class name. So that is that. Next to do is the button section. So we check the div again, the body div, it ends here, and we create our button section. So we say btn section. So let's give it a div and call the btn. Let's give it input. Let's give it a type. A type is what? Submit. Good. Then value also what? Submit. And what else? Class name. Let's give it width 2/5. Then height 10. BG yellow 700. Then text white, font bold, then rounded LG. So that is that. Let's center it. To do that, let's go to the div and let's say class name flex justify center again. And what item center, then empty 14. Okay, so that is that. Our setup is ready. Now to continue, let's work on the code. So the code, let's go to Google country.json again. Go country.json, we go there. Yeah, shout out to my man Samayo. Permission to use your data. Okay, let's go to country by calling code. We copy his data. So we copy this data here. And let's try it and paste it. So we say, let's make it bigger, okay? Then components, let's create another file and call it country data.json. And then let's paste it there. No, didn't work. Copy didn't work. So let's try it again. Copy. Good. Then we go and paste it here. So that is that. Cool. So our data is ready. So next thing to do is to call the data. So we over here we go to, let's import use state and use effect. So we say import use state, comma, use effect. Good, from React. Good, that's that. Now let's come down and say const. Yeah, we're creating a state for the data. Okay, so const countries, comma, sets countries equals to use state. Use state, good, it's a bracket, empty array. Okay, so we come down now and call use effect. Use effect, it's bracket, which gives us a function. Good. So inside that we can have our comma and empty array. Good. So inside the use effect, let's call our data and say const data equals to. So let's call our data. We say code dot country data dot JSON. So that is that. Our data should be ready. So let's console.log data comma data. Okay, let's check our screen, see if we got data. So right here, let's inspect, go to console. Great, we got data. So we're good to go. Now let's link the data to the state. So we say set countries, which bracket data. So that is that. Now let's call our data in the select option. So over here, select, instead of this option, let's call mapping, so we say countries dot map into bracket. That gives us a function. Good. Should return what? Inside I return the option. Good. So let's say call it item. Okay, item. So inside the item, let's call what's the name? Item dot what? Let's check the data. Item dot calling code. Okay, let's copy that. Item dot calling code. Okay. What next? Good. Oh, sorry, I got an option. Item dot calling code. Good. Now let's give it a value and a key. Very important. But before that, let's check if it's even there. Good, guys, we got it. Good. So let's give it the what's the name? The key. Key equals. Good. Let's import a key. Good. Yeah, let's check the UUID. Good. Let's check it again to see how to import it. So npm, we've done that already. So let's import it. Copy that. Then we go to import. Then how to use it to. Good. We call it. Okay. Let's copy that and call out key. Key, where are you? No. Key. Good. So key. Let's call it here. So that is that. Then our value. Sorry. value equals the same thing, item dot. Let's copy this way again. So let's copy that. Good. So that is that. Good. Let's check it out again. Great. So that is that for the code. So next is the phone number. We need to validate our form now. Let's go to React hook form. So we go back to Google and say React hook form. Good. So inside that, let's go to get started. npm, we've done that already. So next thing is to copy the import. Copy that, go to our project. Good. Next, let's go back and copy what the events. Okay, so let's do that too and say events. Let's say handle events. Paste that there and go back and say handle submit. Copy that too. Then here we say handle submit. Paste that there and go back. Then say now the on submit on the form. Let's copy that too. We say go back and paste the on submit on the form. So the form here, let's paste it. Good. So that is that. Now let's check off if we can. Okay, let me run it. And we say submit, it should give us an empty data. Okay. One thing we need to do is get console.log data. I want us to make it alert data. Okay. Alert into bracket JSON dot stringify data. Yeah, good. That is that. I think this will give us the alert we're looking for. So we're over here when we say submit, it gives us an empty there. Good. So that is that. Good. Now what to do next? Let's handle the select field, the errors and the error section. Okay. So to do that, let's go to the register, the example register. Okay, we copy that. Then we go to the select. Good. After the class name, we put the example there. So register, let's give it a name, code. So next, let's make this dynamic, required true. Let's make it dynamic. So we say required. Okay, let's give you, instead of true, let's give it bracket and say required. Let's give value. Value is what? True. And comma, then give it message. Message is what? Code. Code is what required. Good. So that is that. Good. So let's check it out. Okay, before that, let's work on the error section. So let's go back and check the error. Let's copy the sample too. Copy that and let's say the error, we created the error again. This is the error section. So over here, we paste it there. So error dot code. Then we make it dynamic. Take this off. Then call the and say errors dot code dot message. Good. So let's check it out. Good. So over here, when we run and say submit, it says code is required. Now let's give the code is required some styling. So we go to the span and say class name. You say test sm test red 500. So that is the, let's check it out. You can see code is required. Submit a code is required. Now we need to make the focus also change to red. Okay, so let's do that too. Let's go to the class name for the select. Over here, the code, let's make it dynamic. So let's take the code off, give it the bracket, then introduce the dynamic code, which is down the escape button. Good. So inside that we can have a dollar sign. Sorry, dollar sign. Then our bracket. So inside the bracket we say errors.code and give us a class name. Change the focus border to red, focus ring to red, and the border itself to red. So that's the, let's check it out. Good, you can see that when we say submit, says what code is required. Now likewise, we're going to do the same thing to the phone section. So we go to the phone too. Let's go first copy the required and the what's the name, the register. Okay, let's copy that. Good. Then we go to the phone after the class name, let's paste it there and change the name to code to what? Phone. Good. So the same thing there, phone is required. So phone is required. Good. So next, let's change the class name to make it dynamic. So we copy that too. Then we go to the phone section, class name. Good. Let's make it dynamic. So that is that. Let's check it out. So when you see submit, okay, the error section, let's go handle that too. Error. Let's copy the error section too. Copy that, then we go to the error here. Then we paste it there. Change the name to .code to phone. So that is that. Let's check it out. Good. So finally, when we say submit, it says what? Phone is required. Now, next thing to do is to validate the phone. Okay, validate the phone. So to do the validation for the phone, let's call the regular expression. So at the phone column, we can say here, over here, after the required, we can say command, then say pattern. Good. So after pattern, we have our value, which is what? Which is this. Good. I had this from the internet. Again, you can check it out. I'll leave the link in the description below. Then we have message. The message is going to be what? Please enter a valid phone number. Good. So that is that. Okay, let's check it out. Good. So when we say let's take some of the phone number off and say okay, say submit, says what? Please enter a valid phone number. So that is that, guys. Let's fill the phone number and say let's take where is +1? Good, got one here. Good, you can see we have our code and we have our phone number there. So that is guys. Finally, let's make our app responsive, then we can say cheers. So to do that, let's go to make it bigger. Let's go to the mother div and call at small screen. Let's make the width full. Then at medium screen, make the width 4/5. Then same medium screen, make the MX auto. Then at large screen, make the width 2/5. Then at same large screen, make the MX auto. So that is that. Let's check it out. Good. So that is that, guys. Thank you so much for sticking through. Please don't forget to do good. Catch you in the next one. Peace.